Batman Begins, a film that easily gets forgotten as a result of its extremely well-praised sequel.
Everything burns.
As awesome as The Dark Knight was, I think Batman Begins is pretty much on the same level. This is the origin story of our character, and a really good one at that.
If you devote yourself to an ideal, and if they can't stop you, then you become something else entirely. Which is legend, Mr. Wayne.
The transformation of Bruce Wayne from lost, frustrated and angry to someone who finds purpose fueled by his past experiences is phenomenal. You have always been able to view Bruce and Batman as two very different characters, living contrasting lives. But what Batman Begins manages to create were a much more seamless transition between the two. I was just as excited to follow the journey of our rich playboy as I was following the vigilante wearing a cape, because they were connected on a much deeper level than ever before. The fall is the fundamental driving point of the movie, of Bruce Wayne's character arc, how his life tragically turns upside down, how he embraces his loneliness instead of trying to heal his wounds, and in a literal sense in how it's easier to stay in the depths of the darkness waiting for help than trying to climb out of it, something he manages to do in the third movie, illustrating how far Batman has evolved from this early point in his life. It isn't until Bruce meets Ra's al Ghul his actual climb initiates, because he gets shown a direction and a reason to step up.
Anger does not change the fact that your father failed to act.
The man had a gun.
Would that stop you?
I've had training.
The training is nothing. The will is everything.
As we begin to understand early in the film, Bruce's feelings didn't circulate around revenge for very long. Ever since he left Gotham those many years ago, he has been on the run from himself, from his family responsibilities and his tragic past. Being this mysterious man makes him find some sort of peace, because from a certain point of view he doesn't have to be Bruce Wayne anymore, rather something larger than himself, symbolizing the good his father tried to stand for, only in a completely different way.
As a symbol, I can be incorruptible. I can be everlasting. What symbol? Something elemental, something terrifying.
His pilgrimage together with Ra's al Ghul, by the way a fantastic performance by Liam Neeson, made him realize that despite how angry and defeated you could be, compassion hadn't left his soul, that he could be terrifying and brutal, yet that his actions would never mirror the evil scum standing on the other side.
It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me.
This constant battle of doing what's necessary while not taking it too far is represented through the characters Bruce interacts with. On one side we have Alfred, Rachel and Gordon that displays what Batman should stand for: hope, courage and justice. They help him, but always questions his decisions and challenges his mindset, despite his success.
You're getting lost inside this monster of yours.
And you're wearing a mask. Jumping off rooftops.
On the other side we have Ra's al Ghul, Scarecrow and Falcone that instead symbolizes everything wrong with Gotham and what he could become if he lets his anger fully consume him.
You fear your own power. You fear your anger. The drive to do great, terrible things.
This balance is what keeps Batman grounded, is what keeps him realistic as a character, because everyone can relate to it. Christopher Nolan captures this inner struggle perfectly, not just through Bruce, but also on a much larger scale with Gotham. This iconic city very much feels like its own character, in how it slowly gets consumed by corruption and darkness, declining into a dirty and used environment. Just like Bruce himself, Nolan tries to paint the picture of a pure and innocent Gotham, changing because of the death of Thomas Wayne. Therefore the fall of Bruce very much mirrors the fall of the city, and you could examine this in so many different ways. For example, the choice of having a lot of daylight shots in the beginning of the film, symbolizing what Gotham could be if hope is a part of it, compared to the almost exclusive dark and rainy setting in the final hour when the corruption has hit its peak.
What the hell are you? I'm Batman. Nice coat.
For a film having such a dark theme, it's actually quite funny.
Excuse me.
Some comedic relief was definitely needed to distract the audience from the heavy and serious storytelling, but I never felt like the jokes took over or made Batman look ridiculous. It rather complemented the film and hindered it from drowning in its own darkness.
I am gonna stop you. I never did learn to mind your surroundings.
What is the point of all those push-ups if you can't even lift a bloody log?
This is Batman's lowest point. Ra's al Ghul burning the Wayne Castle to the ground and everything Bruce holds close to his heart is the final challenge. The final fall, illustrating how he gets overwhelmed by his past trauma and experiences. But it's also the good in his tragic life that makes him recover.
I wanted to save Gotham. I failed.
Why do we force?
So we can learn to pick ourselves up.
Batman has never been about leaving your struggles behind, instead of how you could accept them to make yourself better. That's why he chose the bat to begin with.
That's frightened me.
That's why Batman exists, because he uses his anger and frustration to fight the bad guys. And like any great origin story, he outsmarts his mentor by beating him at his own game.
I won't kill you. But I don't have to save you.
Together with the friends he made along the way, Batman succeeds, yet everything isn't magically back to how it once was. Criminals are on the loose, but more importantly, Bruce Wayne has changed.
This is your mask. Your real face is the one that criminals now fear. The man I loved. The man who vanished. He never came back at all.
Bruce is the mask of Batman, not the other way around. The Batman is who this lost man had to become to find purpose, to live his life without constantly having to think about his past. It's the sacrifice he had to make, to save the city, yes, but ultimately, to save himself. What do you think about Batman Begins, and would you like me to explore more of this trilogy? Put it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope you will have a phenomenal day.